이게 주주. 다르다. 다이텔라. 여기 틀에 편조주 주대라. 시와 저와 지금도 틀에 편조주 주대라. 주당 대라되는 배면도 주받다바 니 비나네. 담보들에 틀에做名啊，我就不对当，都在结束比提那做钱把是你一边呢，他不得现在不着，是吧？
The causes for the complete perfection of enlightened qualities, and for that, the causes for the effortless enlightened activity, and then the knowledge of the appropriate enlightened activity for the sake of disciples. So we finished the first part, which is the causes of effortless enlightened activity.
No, yeah. 大家来看这送我这些事呢，确定被送给结界丢吧，是结拜丢吧，对不对？确实被送给结界，按你结拜丢吧，我们结界丢吧。对家当其他的三把两把汤，对家的三把苏古明知道吧？他妈两把汤呢？大开的罗是呢，对家七八件对于天都，等下就被出两把说九把汤。安尼叫他们去读完了说话，中午说叫他们去，安尼叫他们去姑娘对家读完了，安尼样读完到完了说话，可能叫他们去安尼读哎。 是吧？对家看起，哪怕其他他看个多啊，但对家让个看到没话当唱吧，安尼哪怕当他看个多，他安尼查就三把的，他其他三把太大都现呢，安尼相对来说吧的是啊。
Also, the commentary, whether it be by teaching as illustrated by the actual vocal teaching of the Dharma in accordance with the disciple. By form bodies referring to the expression of various and numerous form bodies, again in accordance with the disciple, by conduct referring to the expression of acts of desire in order to tame those with desire. So, specific to the needs of the disciples, aspirations, mental dispositions, then accordingly employing the method of whatever aspect or manner is required to subdue the sentiments in order to subdue those with desire, then taking on the expressions of desire, and by behavior such as acts of coming and going, and these bodhisattvas engage in the welfare of others, knowing by which method, in which form, disciples will be tamed.
아니 가서래 들람도 리제면 봐야지 전도 배바 체마에 때나 수고 타다니 저람 제자를 가시 지다 강인도 대대니도 대다시 대인바다 예송아
So the root verse for the previous causes for the effortless enlightened activity, you have verse 73, due to the impulse of aspirational wishes and so forth. earlier on the 9th ground in blue. And because of being devoid of all motivational conceptuality, then 10th ground bodhisattvas in the last life do not dwell to strive and exert themselves for the sake of ripening embodied beings and for the knowledge of appropriate enlightened activities for the sake of disciples. Then you have verse 74. However, those bodhisattvas know whatever methods are suitable for taming any trainee, whether these be through teaching doctrine in accordance with their thought or displaying various form bodies appropriate to trainees interested, or the powerful deeds of bodhisattvas for the welfare of others, or styles of behavior. So, showing teachings, giving Dharma teachings in accordance with the mindset or need of the sentient beings, displaying form bodies that are, whatever types of form bodies are required for the benefit of the trainees, then displaying those types of form bodies.
가소를 멤버라 몇번 나올라 차다지 줘봐 야천볼 라바 몇번 나올라 사단 파로를 집이 줘봐 사몰 라바 몇번 나올라 차전 그 줘봐 독스된 거 아래 인자 차전 누비 텐도 대자라 소비 집이 수단 봐서 줘봐탕 시가라 원제다 제람치 제당 실체 이러와
So, displaying a varieties of form bodies, and for those with great minds of desire, then, or aspirations towards the lower path, or then for them, expounding the teachings to give up or renounce attachment, and for those individuals aspiring to nobility or greatness, then giving the teachings of the perfections, the grounds and paths, the perfection vehicle, and for those aspiring towards the profound, then showing them the path with attachment.
아니 저람지 누알라가 여와텔라 아니 좋아다 오와다 차바다 누발라 소와기 아니 저람 치장 아니 누아
and by the means of the conduct, then in order to gather the disciples, then doing the activities of coming and going and so forth.
어떠니? 가소래 가시치다 강기도 대대니도 대다시 세가라 도자랑랑기 감당 매와다 삼바 탑 강기 누와 아니 누구야기 탑 아니 감당 매와라서 치다와 심지 힘이 이러와 도자 가시 남바치다 탑 강기 누와 타소 셈바티 탑지 치다를 참바티니도 시에네 아니 제대로 주버리.
So engaging in the activities of benefiting others with the complete knowledge of the others' interest, aspiration, and dispositions.
나디는 다 디니 디제라 안다 가르고 틀려라 때네 틀려 빼면 주바단 바데 틀려 때는 틀려 빼면 주바단 바데 자와기 얘기 사지 가르레에서나 대단한 게 달라지 돌아 다도 흔들라 통면원데 대니 삼전전이 안다주 세지 자리
And for the the effortless engaging in the enlightened activities by relying on those methods. Then you have the following verse 75. In that way, through activities without striving, those intelligent bodhisattvas thoroughly engage in activities for the sake of ripening sentient beings, always spontaneous and unimpeded, for transmigrators in endless space.
아니 규태다라 때네 아니 난게 탈레비 줘봐라 뒤따도 아니 매서 침범이 거봐 아니 매천데 아니 가 현지 줘봐 아니 가지 기지 침에 가지지 기침이 봐 처음에도 아니라냐 자주 삼바티 섬제전에 야다바 중그래 세네 성을 받다.
So the bodhisattvas perfectly engage in the activities benefiting sentient beings, employing all of the methods as previously stated in the previous verse, employing all those methods, all of those methods for the benefit of sentient beings that pervade the infinitude of space without much exertion of effort on their, without much striving of, without much effort, then spontaneously they engage in the activities benefiting sentient beings.
나 뒤에는 다시 또 공도 사자 뒤에 담아 단다 가서 류재민 바세야 돼. 다중에 주원하신 제는 무엇을 자사대 남민바 도론당 신도민바 사롱무엇을 자사대 가서래 너네 걔라 특주하래 지단말라 사당 대다기 세지 마당 안에 세 신도라자니 무엇을 자사대 대진그 졸람라 대진그 졸람 대가라 안에 가서래 사바메 비치
So the term ripening embodied beings or ripening living beings, then in the ornament of the sutras, then takes the example of when you have a ripened fruit for eating and a ripened abscess that needs to be burst out. Here, the ripening of the embodied beings, living beings, refers to the Mahayana path of preparation. When they, by actualizing the uncontaminated phenomena, then they attain the path of seeing.
And
when the objects of the abandonment of the path of seeing, are on the the analogy for that is like an abscess, like a boil, that is completely ripened, that needs to be sort of burst, extracted, like the bursting of a completely ripened abscess. In the same way, like this analogy, then likened to the abandonment of the objects of abandonment on the path of seeing.
Tene 가서래 사탄부터 봐 대사나 아니 신도면 봐 론지아바당 아니 뭐에 카드 때디 통방 비난에 빠자근나네 통방 세배 아니 규단 그 규단 비응이게 나네 가론 세대 아니 그르도 좋아다 저 빠자 통방 세 아니 공방 리와인자 그르단 잡아 무슨 거 그르 그 주게 나네 여기 나는 규단 비 가론 세서나 통방 리와인자 주비 가론 세나 그르와다 잡아
and then on the first bhumi, then it's like the attainment of the first bhumi is is likened to that ripened food ready to be enjoyed or eaten. And this happens due to like the bursting of that abscess. In the same way, then the total exhaustion of all the objects of abandonment on the path of seeing, like the clothing that is totally worn out, where all the fabric is kind of, shredded, completely worn out in the same manner. Then, with the total exhaustion of the objects of abandonment on the path of seeing, likened to the bursting of that particular abscess, then you have the enjoyment of the first bhumi, likened to the ripened food, that which is enjoyed. So, generally speaking, then, the way in which embodied beings are brought into ripening is explained in 8 different ways.
That you were Sibatamavi, Chanju Sambaki Tabada Madapi, and the Shabatella Tabi Kabada Madabi Kaba.
So, and then explaining the pure and impure qualities of the last life bodhisattva, the distinctions of their pure aspect, the distinctions of their impure aspect.
That day, Shavatella, Chanju Sambi Sudani, Jedu Tishin Shenamda. Oh, and it's some Jan Lion, some Jan and that drove a lot Jidan and Yambani. That's cheating, but right? Yes,
okay, 76. This mode of the 10th ground bodhisattvas engaging in activities subsequent to meditative equipoise is seen in the world to be equal with one's gandhas, in thoroughly releasing sentient beings from suffering, since they have attained the special qualities of the 6 clairvoyances, the 10 forces, and so forth.
Oh yeah. Chanju Sembi Su Dini, Semjen Tweni Andaju, Serigala, Sibatame Chanju Semba, Ani Semjen Ji Twenji Bi Su Dini. Ani Jedu to Chetambala Suve, Zaba Teshin Sheba Namdang. Semjian Yang Daba, Fiji Maloba, Sushin to draw a la. Tishinsheva Namdang, any Tishinsheva Dang, or Sabatam Chasam Deda. Any Semjian Yang Daba, Fiji Maloba, Sushin to Jabala, Jidan and Yambani to Shiva Chow.
So, the bodhisattvas and the fully enlightened Buddhas are similar in the way in which they liberate sentient beings perfectly, appropriately, without any kind of mistakes. The manner in which they liberate sentient beings, it's the same in the case of bodhisattvas and in the fully enlightened Buddhas.
아니 기대 잠시 섬전 탐제라 천유바 디시셔와다 냠비테레스.
So in the post meditational period, post equipoise, then the way they carry out the activities benefiting the sentient beings, the number of sentient beings that they are able to benefit in terms of the numbers and in terms of their activities is the same. But they are not equal in every respect. The way in these activities, although they are equal in these sorts of ways, but bodhisattvas and the enlightened Buddhas are not equal in every respect. The Buddhas, while still being in a state of equipoise, without ever arising out of that state of equipoise, they are able to engage in the activities of benefiting sentient beings in the way of giving teachings.
因此，这句话蛮在给什么钱了，念下了，念把下心都什么钱了，确定把所有啊买的，想他们做三件，
So, bodhisattvas from the 10th level downwards, then below it, bodhisattvas, they do not have this particular feature of being in the equipoise, and while being in the equipoise, then doing the outer activities of benefiting sentient beings.
因此，什么钱给那个啥就蛮见都念起人说吧，
So,
是吧？俺这三件事那个说，俺的念起我记。
So everything and below the 10th level of the bodhisattvas, then it's either a case of being in a state of equipoise or in a post-meditation or a post-meditational period doing activities. It has to be one or the other. It's only in the state of the Buddhahood that that equipoise and post-equipoise is simultaneous.
因此，这就蛮解读。俺现在其他话是那当年来讲的，现在其他话我说是比老天年纪，而且现在企业吧，工作那么，俺我说的手把啦，等于我太太都准备什么什么事，从办过过来，那时候就蛮解读，等于我太太都准备什么办法要买的。
So everyone below the 10th level then needs to abandon the contamination of seeing the divisibility between the true truths, the absolute truth, the emptiness of seeing phenomena exactly for what they are, and the conventional, the varieties of phenomena, the conventional realities, as with regards to seeing the seeing the divisibility of the two truths. That contamination has to be abandoned by everyone below the the 10th level.
哦，你知等于我太太都什么，太太这边什么这边办法3件了嘛都嘛，没办啦，没办印章，没办，哎，他就喜欢拿些啊，什么这个那个，这就蛮解读，念着我人说把我们念着我太太的，等于我太太这边什么办法呢？念着我就当念着人说嘛的，念着我就。
So the defilement of such contamination of seeing the divisibility of the two truths is completely exhausted, completely abandoned in the state of Buddhahood. So, for everyone below the 10th level, then the equipoise and post-equipoise are separate in nature. It is only upon attaining enlightenment that the two become of one nature.
Oh yeah, that.
萨住门界，
萨住门界啦。
萨住当地门界是个样子。
萨住门界，萨住完门界。
Below the 10th level.
萨住完门界看看，是吧
the Quran is this.
那看都真的好不对。
Quran是呢，萨住当萨住个门界是个样子。
马的。 萨住门没没的，萨住门界都是吧？萨住完呢是门界都，念着人做的，念着我太太的，是吧？三界个啥呢？念着我几个的。
但Quran萨住的三个萨几个呗？
马来萨住是马来萨住等于三界了，是吧
？So that's because the 10th level is not the state of Buddhahood.
萨唐波萨古萨唐波呢萨住帕提。
Everything below the 10th ground, you have
10th ground and
below. Yeah.
10th level bodhisattva.
Such you mentioned below the 10th ground. No.
Ground and below. You have to include the
10th ground. Such you the mentioned sora.
sa juwa menje se sa juwa menje se ta ga de sa juwa
la
sa juwa menje se na sa juwa no guwa de den zhe gang ga si go la sa juwa menje se na de menje de yanjie se shuo
10th round and below it.
What is it? Nyamji renjo sta kan je semjian san na nyamji renjo man do nyamji ngo chi tu me wa che ani san je ge san na nyamji ngo chi tu ye wa de ka re san na din yin ngo ta de zhu be chima sa par bang ba yin zang di re de man je do ani semjian la din yin ngo ta de zhu be chima sa par bang wa me ba nyamji renjo ma de yo ma re ta tin da de le re.
So the equipoise and post-equipoise being alternative, or the two being separate in nature is in the case of the sentient beings, and then in the case of the Buddhas, the two equipoise and post-equipoise are of one nature, and that being the case because all the contamination of the defilements of duality or of the true truths, then that has been totally abandoned, and as sentient beings, since that defilement has not been exhaustively kind of abandoned, so the equipoise and the post-equipoise is separate in nature.
Oh, that didn't. Oh, can't sorry, that subject. You want the check on that. Oh, yeah, that Latin actually to Batambatella. That didn't. No. Oh, shouldn't be Duji Chana Yambateta images. Duji Chana saw Yambateta images. Number time the Yamba Mare said, Jidentan Yamba Meteta Meji said, Duji Chana saw Gashi Yambateta Meji. Number nine, number time the Yamba Main de such a be do such a boda do dendam, such a boda do dem Yambata. Jazodam, Yazunanga Chudam, Parang, Michigan, and Chunyu, Chaba Kanyan Bate, Tedan Java, Zoe Sanjay Tang. 탈집에 자주집에 제발 타냐 시와 차오. 자 사사 주와라 소베 차 사주에 자주 sem바당 산제니 그 제발 텐데. So 여기도와 대담 매기 두당 대담 매기 사두탕 야소 바람 매지지 제발 강의 산제다 자주 sem비 채팅이.
So then you have the next verse differentiating how the 10th level bodhisattva and the Buddhas, how they are different. Verse 7, nevertheless, in terms of fulfilling their own welfare, the difference between the qualities of the Buddha and bodhisattvas is as very great as the difference between the great earth and a particle, or between an ocean and the water in the hoof print of an ox. So, the Zawa Tilchik lobby. Zawa lobby.
Zawa, the Tagara. Then a number of times you never made such a be do down. Do then that Jazo Chapa Kanye, but Teda and Java, so we Sanjeta, Chaju Simbi, Sanjeta, Tachimbi, Simbi, 자주 세비 제바 타 등이 제바 저어서 사주 세바 타마 자주 그 제바 등이 제바 저어서 봐.
So although they may be 10th level bodhisattvas and Buddhas, the last life bodhisattva and the Buddhas, although they may be equal in terms of the number of disciples that they're able to teach or benefit like that, but there is a vast difference. As illustrated by these examples of like the earth and a particle of dust, like the great ocean and the puddle in the hoof print of an ox.
因常提倡啊嘛，节奏体现现那么一身边上的做完啦， 아니 기대나니 냠바니 시와 되기 아니 지장하면 제도지 섬제지 전집에 장라서 냠바 땡라 지제 치마 되기 아니 잡아제비 출라서 지원도 전에 잡아 땡바래
So the distinction is made in the previous lines. It shows the equality in the sense of the number of sentient beings that they're able to benefit, and then the later, the other half of the stanza then shows the distinction of the distinctions in the way in which Bodhisattvas and Buddhas benefit sentient beings.
지 준장 가르래서나 아니 무엇인지 꿀롱 그 자와 영화에 관한 자와대단 네 차고 냐야기 꿀롱 그 자와 타다 냐와 시와다 마시베 산제 꿀롱 그 타다 탐제 냐와 시웨 꿀롱람 자와는 메되봐 배조 냐와 시와 틀려진지 주바체 사주 내가 사주 안에서 봐 타면 이제 배조 냐와 마시베기 캐버리래 아니 대신이라 냠바 샤신도 최대 발라서에 잡은 아니 배전이와 시와 인상 아니 동반이라 냠바 샤신도 최대 발에 잡아 전이와 대신시에 좀 사주 스바 타마와디 아니 배전이와 마시바 인상 동반이라 냠바 샤신도 아니 최대 미니바 어디 순간에
So the distinctions made here is in terms of between the removal or non-removal of the motivational effort in the activities of the body, speech, and mind. So in the case of a Buddha, then there's a complete pacification of all effort on the part of the activities of the body, speech, and mind. So they have a spontaneous, effortless activity of benefiting sentient beings, and that is by that it means like while being in a state of equipoise without arising out of that equipoise, then being able to engage in the activities of the body, speech, and mind in the way of giving teachings and so forth. And in the case of the last life bodhisattvas, because they have yet to achieve total pacification of the motivational effort, so they do not have that way of engaging like the Buddhas, which means refers to while being in a state of equipoise, then they do not engage in the outer activities of the body, speech, and minds, giving of dharma and so forth like that.
Oh yeah. 예마도 소소제비 되지 된체바 냠바당 아니 파바주비 되미 체바 미냠바가 체바진데 말해.
So there is no distinction. This distinction is not interpreted in the form of like that they are able to benefit ordinary sentient beings and they are not able to benefit Arya Bodhisattvas, like it's not that kind of distinction.
소소제보 타바 냥알렌 대화라 거발라 아니 산제기 자주단자와
So
아니 이보데 바람금이 제단자와 차바시와차오
So the way in which Buddhas are able to enable ordinary sentient beings to the state of liberation is just like the ocean, and whereas the way in which the Arya Bodhisattvas are able to enable sentient beings to liberation is like the puddle in the hoof print.
That 대찬이 나타나는 얘기 자와되기 전에 다 대화지 임바다 삼주지 순바지 삼자와 자와 대화 송변하는 대화지 파제 임바 이슬 와 질때마다 소소 샤바 와
So then the commentary, the general and the specific explanations.
나 대화 권한 것도 생활 주수 잡아 주 샤와나 제와 지금 잡아오 샤와오 아 사람도 가와 rabgi odu oma sagi olam ani kharirasana sosu jo jolam da cholam 야 제가라고 가라 주와 최지등이 주와 최지등도 최지등도 자 주와 최지등의 띵도 안에 초도나 받아 봐 양다 봐 저기 산제대
So this begins these 10 verses in order up to obstructed by one life. So in the commentary, so below the level of joys, below the level known as joys, are found afflicted ordinary beings. So like all the paths of everything below the path of preparation, and then and above the level known as the cloud of Dharma is found the supremely pure Buddha. So everything above the 10th level, above the 10th bhumi, then is the perfect and complete state of Buddhahood. So so when you make the comparison of purity and impurity, then it's like the 10 levels are a state of purity in comparison to everything below the first level of the joyous ground, and then the 10 levels in comparison in relation to everything above the 10th level of the cloud of Dharma, then it is an impurity. So, she just read from the specific explanation. The commentary here can be divided into 5 sections. The first section deals with the qualities of those who develop ultimate bodhicitta first. This begins with the first 2 verses, 68, 69, because the first level Bodhisattva perceives Dharmadhatu as all-pervading. These verses literally teach the quality of purity, and the quality of impurity is implied. So, on the first level of on the first bhumi, on the first level, then there is that realization of emptiness, seeing the suchness in relation to all phenomena, and so in that state, it is a purity with respect to the imputed grasping at true existence, but it is a purity with that in relation to that, and an impurity in relation to not having gotten rid of the innate form of the grasping at true existence.
미디 초지 림기 세월체비 톱톱이 다지당 가소래 세니 군디 세디 아니 진백 미팅 쳐러와 미디 미쳐 인장 사탄보 집이 파진 거 냠래 하바토바 임베 세니 군디 그 처만 차에 산이와 수준이 파진 거 냠래 하토바 임베 추자 다 대나시 제 사주래야就是他进住的杀猪那个他进住的嘞，哎，咱们他进住给咱们他把拖过来的，是吧？人家在猪把把都把都先把猪给咱们拖钱，人家每天比如三那了说话，人家三把这边拖把的，
And then the second section teaches the qualities of those bodhisattvas engaged in activities. This begins with the third and fourth verses 77. From the second to the seventh level, one gains the power to destroy the chains of miserliness, to prevent the weakening of one's morality, and so on. Conduct which would be in complete opposition to the six perfections. So along each of these 10 levels, then one gains the power of power of the 10 perfections. At the first level, then is the extraordinary the power of the extraordinary perfection of generosity. In which one is totally released from the chains of miserliness, the bondage of miserliness, which is like the opposite to generosity. So, like that, in relation to each level, then there is the 10 perfections, the extraordinary perfection of, say, morality in the second level, and so forth, tolerance, like that, as the power of those, so the power of those extraordinary perfections are gained.
사바다 미제와 집이 이시 산재의 규지 다 사바다 미제와 무슨 집이 이시라 쓰고 지단 자주 전부 생각이 산재의 자주 전부 집바다 샤나 되고 그래. 是吧? 이 자주 전부 산재를 고하세. 자주 전부 토박은 좋아디 아니 다 자주 전부 되라 추구다 수군이 연구로 와. 추구인 주 아니 가르에서나 스신염이 좋아. 스시념이 그 좋아 가상 시원 하신 전에 스시 된동 무슨도 또비 안에 셔럽지 심바기 안에 타바사송기 이시지라 스시념이 그 좋아 시거래 어나 연자 즐거운 그 스시념이 좋아오 치매도 대토바 인자 치매도 자주 삼바 사순바 사개바나 도비와
So the third section teaches the qualities of the non-returner bodhisattva, beginning the first verse, the fifth verse, 72, the phrase "the yoga that will achieve the great enlightenment." Great enlightenment, referring to Buddhahood, refers, and this great enlightenment refers to the yoga of the equality of samsara and nirvana, the cause of Dhammakaya. So, the great enlightenment, that Buddhahood, then. Is a composite of the Dhammakaya and the Rupakaya. What is the cause of the Dhammakaya is this yoga of the equality of samsara and nirvana. So what is this yoga is that it is that exalted wisdom directly perceiving the emptiness of the true existence of samsara and nirvana. The fourth section teaches the qualities of the bodhisattva obstructed by one life and begins the sixth, seventh, and eighth verses 72 to 75, where the power to completely ripen sentient beings, which is the way to the completion of the welfare of self and others, is achieved.
아니 수수자가 구하다 키와기 다 담바래 다 대다 그 된다지 얘기 자주선바래래래래 된다 시차가 봐 아니 사탄부터 와 저발을 주와 신매도 봐 저와 지기도 다 두신 말에
So the fifth section teaches the qualities of the perfect Bodhisattva. It begins with the 9th and 10th verses, 76, and this has been explained like what we talked about earlier about those when we talked about those qualities like the
사탄보라도 가와니와 가세 제발을 쉬어다 아니 심미도 받아 저와 지기도 와세레레 마세와
when we talked about the qualities of the first attaining the first level bodhisattva, the choice ground, the ultimate bodhicitta, and the qualities of those engaged in qualities, the non-returners, the qualities of those obstructed by one life.
다티니 다야게 타바성군하니 마다바다 달라 안에 달라 마다바다 안에 시도 남다 타바성무 예배나네 다 시도 남다기 내가는 주함해봐 세제 다시 뒷말에.
So in explaining impure, pure and impure, and completely pure. So now comes the part of explaining the immutable during the totally pure state.
인단다들라 ngarishebe zawadabi tije susujabawo dini ngarishebe zawadabi sujabawo 신도 내가 오거나 디신시비 추구 되니 추구 시제다 산자그지 추구 시제 따바인데 다야게 바자 가서 머리비 바자지 사당 사바메비 레지 끼비 이제라신지 령아마团에 치미텐도 주와메비 실是吧 치미텐도 주와메비 실 현주민주 따배다
So,
현주민주 세대인 바래 현주민주 아니야
so the totally pure state of the Dharmakaya of the Tathagatas is a permanent phenomenon because it is unformed in the sense of being an attainment whose ultimate nature is not the mutability of the mental body created by the ground of the predispositions of ignorance and the non-afflicted karma in which a former body is abandoned and a later body gained.
인삼 머리 바자사 사매기 내가 때문에 이기라시디 리대한 돌고 와래 산제 소득
So when Buddhahood is attained, then this mental body, which is brought on by the grounds of the imprints of ignorance, which here is the the ground of the dispositions of ignorance and uncontaminated karma or non-afflicted karma. These factors that are usually the causes of the mental body. Then, upon attaining enlightenment, these are abandoned.
So
the Dhammakaya of the Tathagata, since it does not change into anything else, then it is the permanent phenomenon because Shendamikyo.
아니 주와메비 두마체지 아니 젠도 주와메비 다니 타도비 내가 그 두마체데 임바데 가르레세나 아니 가서를 미세 천대 칠 다 준대도 미세 제제 미세 천대 칠 미세 천대 지르스나 라시지 미세비 연대지 체 타도 받아 대비 추구 임부칠 미세 천대 칠
So, the reason why it is a permanent phenomenon, not changing, not altered to to another state is because the Dharmakaya is possessed with these ultimate qualities that by nature and unending is the tamate kharsu namba ken tanda tamate
그 준전 조거래 그와 두마체의 임바디 가르레서나 랑신기 메세비 랑신기 메세비 연년지 최타도 받으면 최고 임비 7세 거래 여기 자와에게 연주 메다 메세 최대 7 준전라.
So what is the reason for that Dharmakaya of the Tathagaya to be unformed and and not unchanged, unformed and not mutable? The reason for that is because the Dharmakaya is possessed of the ultimate qualities that by nature are unending.
다지네 추구대 조아남지 밀루비 짭타도 바래 짭타도 바 예바데 가르레서나 아니 추구 되게 라신라 아니 치멜레바 메바임바 아니 라신라 치멜레바 메바임바 라신지 나바 타라 루부지 치마야 말리바 타바 아니 치미 타메바 무투바 내위 추구 임비실
It is the ultimate unfailing refuge for living beings because in its natural purity it is also the body pure of all adventitious defilements.
로자 치미타 따와라 지가나 로자 치미타면 모두 칠 스테린 바리 잡타도 임바디 디기자를 그쪽 로자 치미타면 모두 칠
칸테스 카드카드들
아
그냥 카드카드 순요
따와
17 So in the root text it says, it is the non-deceptive refuge of transmigrators because of providing refuge continuously throughout endless cyclic existence in the future.
그래서
디자와데스와
따와들 로자 치미타면 다디 대화라 다가라래셔 가서래 추구대 좋아하는지 밀을 잡타도 바래스 임바 가르래서나 아니 추구대 그 아니 라신지 남바 타라 산제기서 그 취니디 추구대 라신지 치면 남바 타발라 루부지 치마야 말리바 타바 치미 아니 되게 탐해봐 아니 무투바냐고 고임비체
So the Dharmakaya of the Tathagatas is the infallible refuge of sentient beings because the Dharmakaya is the suchness of that Dharmakaya is free of all defilements, which is naturally pure, and also is purified of all adventitious defilements, and thereby it abides continuously without end.
디체되기 아니 땜비 전담 바래스 가르래서나 말루부지 치면 남바 타바 치현도 주나 말루부지 치면 다 되네 치 안에 가르서나 주마마다 병으로 주나 아니 cap수는 거 말해서 인자 그러다 치매 타면 모두 칠세 되기 땜비 전담 바래스 말루부지 치면 남바 타바 치현도 주나 된다 cap수 미루면 칠
So, the phrase, this phrase, teaching on the suchness of the Tathagatas, being totally free of the adventitious defilements. If it were to sort of change, if you apply a mutable kind of if it were to change into something else, then it would not become, it would not qualify as an infallible refuge for sentient beings.
아니 간지라 속에 와래서나 뭐위 내서라 남지 잡아 타투비 잡텔라 아니 된다 비 잡체 뭐위 내서라 남지 잡아 타마도 비 잡텔라 군조 비잡 시거래 인자 된다 비자라 산제 용거래 봐 군조 비잡데 다 소지 가세 섬제 사샤거래
모비네슬라
모비네슬라 람주 드바 타투 비잡
so you have absolute refuge, which is in the case of a Buddha, and that is defined as that is defined as being a nature in accord with reality, which is attained through the complete, through the completion of the progression of the path. And then a conventional refuge, is the conventional refuge is when one completes the progression of the path, then it's not language of dharma tubala. Language of dharma when the progression of the path is not complete, is a conventional refuge. Dharmatuba. Dharmatuba. So the absolute refuge is where the progression of the path is complete, and in a conventional refuge, the progression of the path is not complete. So the absolute refuge where the progression of the path is complete would be only in the case of a Buddha, and in a conventional refuge where the progression of the path is not complete. For that, then you can have a refuge which is not Buddha. So the last two lines of the root verse, the undefiled basic element is always quiescent without the duality of cyclic existence and nirvana, because of not conceptualizing the defects and benefits. It is the unalterable and non-disintegrating reality because of being a nature uncompounded by actions and afflictive emotions. So the meaning of these last two lines of verse 78 is in the commentary is that it is naturally free of the two extremes of deprecation and superimposition. So superimposition is on yourself not comprehending the measure of a particular existence, and then adding on extra features to that existence.
군대 세나 가주 레버 마심바 가주 레버 마심바 아니 텔레 하바지 가서나 아니 군대 고빌로 텔레 군대 시가래
deprecation or denial is not being able to comprehend the measure of what is to be negated, and so negating much more than what does not exist.
그다음 가소리 대마초와 집이 집바 쓰나 전도 고 가는 사람 가사랑 시기 주와 집이 집바스나 전도 가사 유수대 가사 코란 게 유수 텔레 하바지 로더바 인자 코라 가사 여바 집에 라신 주와 집이 집바데 전도체.
So for example, grasping at true existence, grasping at the the inherently existing person is a superimposition, because one is grasping onto an existence of a person much more at a level much more than the correct level of how this person exists.
아니 가사 때문에 매바 집이 tum바데 근데 가사 때 가사 매세 가서 레바는 마스바 가사 라시 주와 매나 가나 지고 와데 가사 라시 주와 가 마세 가사 여와야 가주 잡아 가서 레바 마스바 인장 가사 땐 매바 집이 tum바데 근데 빙바데.
And so when one holds onto a view of a totally non-existent person is the deprecation or denial. Like, what one needs to negate here is a person, intrinsically existing person. But since one is not able to get to that correct measure of what is to be refuted, so besides negating an inherently existing person, you also negate the person itself.
다 되게 유 가사 라시지 주와 짐비 짐바기 유 가르 증거 아래서나 라시지 주와 대 정도 기타 가사 때문에 매바 짐비 짐바 되기 제약이 유 가사 매바 군대 기타 정도 기타다 군대 기타를 매하고 아래 정도다 군대보다 여바체 로스팅가디체.
So you have the extremes of superimposition and the extreme of denial or deprecation. When one holds onto an intrinsically existent person, you have a person that exists, innately, inherently existent person. Then you have the extreme of superimposition, and then when one holds on to the view of a person being totally non-existent, then you have the extreme of deprecation or denial. So one needs to be free of the two extremes of superimposition and deprecation.
가사 라시지 주와당 가사 매반이 어디 전도당 군대 그 타라 전에 다 라시지 주와 전바당 매바지나 강 전바 정경기 전바보다 송어 주와 인장 콜라타시 민다야 그대리.
So the person apprehending an inherently existing person, which is the extreme of superimposition, and then or a person, apprehending the other extreme, a non-existent person being non-existent, the extreme of deprecation. Then that is the person, because that is the person with that kind of mode of apprehension is the one that falls.
Oh yeah, that's it. 他是个抓住啥的啦？一年个那些日本那个了，这一年下月，他那山上去，他都没个去啊，都这，大多中多的滚头去，他你说没比让兄弟那的，俺这除了他的设备提醒你了，没多兄弟那个过瘾比起呢。等你大多你们没多吃日，俺你看说的，你们全家马家让兄吃日，是我的。但是，他你说没让兄弟那的除了他的设备提醒你了，没多不起，是吧？
除了他的没多被吃死。
让兄弟的除了他的设备提醒你了，没多被让兄弟那个过瘾不起。
So usually living Ignan Vasubandhu explains there's 8 ways in which one can fall into the extremes, and so again tanda zawa dire
zawa thaga de tanda zawa de yo tene da du ni me me do chi ji me che jang ma jia rang xin chi是zawa ji chen
so
到的装着的滚头去他你说没被气是爱的是吧
그게 그냥 치들에 단도스 로나이트
这근데 다 전에 다도 이미 믿어 제 지금 최장 맞아 라신 치르세 자와체
단도
또 시당하라
so this undefiled basic element is always quiescent without the duality of cyclic existence and Nirvana because of not conceptualizing the defects and benefits. It is the unalterable, non-integrating reality because of being a nature uncompounded by the actions and afflictive emotions.
Oh, that's the Devadela. 아니, 드니다도 이미 메도 치르세 데 다도 존도다 군도기 탄이스메 베라신도 내버래.
So always abiding in a state which is free of these two extremes of deprecation and superimposition.
让兄弟那我的看来是除了三大设备提醒你了，没多比让兄弟那有供应不起，谁干了？没多吃的些的，他平常的过过的，是吧
？So not abiding in all not abiding in every state of mistake or in not abiding in any state of error, being without any state of error.
是什么？除了他大设备提醒你了，没多别让兄弟过瘾不起，那这个没多吃些的，除了他大设备提醒你了，没多别让兄弟过瘾不提，看了下边的是呢，让心去修啦，让心去修啊，是一个那修过的了，让心啦。前面来把马修吧修吧，那路不去前面了，什么马路白讲修天单吧，对那路不那么大的，让心那么大，你个单管吧的，让心去前面修个单吧给让心那么大，路不去什么马路白讲修个单吧给路不那么大。
So it's regarded as a body dwelling without conceptuality in suchness, being without error. And this explains how at peace means that it is free of the adventitious defilements and that it is the state of natural purity.
那理解了，早晚了，姐妹全家马家让兴趣，叫我没兴趣我没，是的，当然姐妹全家马家让兴趣是干了。三千张三枚几对马钱吧，基本没被确诊赢的，啊， 추구대 사제다 사면 그 유전지 뒤 마셔봐. 집안에 비춰자 인데.
So the next part is that the Dhammakaya is not altered by afflicted and non-afflicted phenomena.
다 리루라 사제다 사면 세대 간데스 그래서나. 다이 사제다 사면 세대 조체의 아니
So here when we talk about contaminated, in that the Dhammakaya is not, not altered by contaminated and non-contaminated phenomena. This contaminated, non-contaminated phenomena applies mostly to the, consciousness. So it is an uncontaminated phenomena, non-afflicted phenomena, when it is not contaminated by ignorance or the imprints of ignorance. Contaminated phenomena, contaminated consciousness is when it is contaminated by ignorance or the imprints of ignorance. So contaminated consciousness or afflicted consciousness is synonymous with having the appearance of true existence. For a non-afflicted consciousness where there is no appearance of true existence, is only the consciousness that directly perceives emptiness. So therefore the Dhammakaya is unaffected by afflicted or non-afflicted phenomena, and therefore is not subject to destruction. So not affected by causes and conditions. So then for the explanation of the root text and commentary, then you have first the indirect teaching by negation, indirect teaching by affirmation, and expanded explanation of the negation. So root text is verse 79. This pure basic element without birth in the beginning, death in the end, harm through sickness in the middle, and aging or changing respectively, because of being permanent, because of being stable, because of being quiescent, and because of being unalterable. So so the Dhammakaya is not, moved from birth to birth by afflictions, nor does it take the form of like mental bodies. Because the Dhammakaya does not take a birth under the control of afflictions, so it is free of the control of afflictions. Because it does not have birth in mental bodies, so it does not have that kind of inconceivable death. So the Dhammakaya is not harmed by afflictions and action karma, nor is it affected by the grounds of the imprints of ignorance, and nor is it affected by the intentional birth that which is brought on by uncontaminated karma. And there is no sort of mutability or change that is brought on by uncontaminated karma, non-afflicted karma, to this Dhammakaya.
number Jenny, Yonjula Carriere, Senegala, Shugutini, Ane Tapatang, Tembichidang, Ane Shivichidang, Yundungi Chil, Statusia, Dugari.
So, after by negating what the Dhammakaya is not, then the affirmation is that Dhammakaya is permanent, that it is stable, constant, and peace and unalterable. So the fact that it just so previously talked about the teaching by negation, explaining what the Dhammakaya is. And so the fact that the Dhammakaya is not moved to birth from birth to birth by affliction or by it's like because of that it is permanent, and then below is like explaining how it is, in what respect it is permanent, in what respect it is constant. the reason,
大藏，大不起，
why the Dharmakaya of the Tathagatas is a permanent phenomenon is because why it does not take birth with the mental body is because it is a permanent phenomenon.
到底早晚了，起的干了，谈不的，用这个东西的干了，天天大大电气堂，西北气堂用中你晒的钱，大把的电北气堂，西瓦堂用中个气晒的钱，是吧？好听。
Like in the the basic element without respectively because of being permanent and because of being stable and because of being quiescent and because of being unalterable. So that Tathagata Dharmakaya.
那今天看说的，那么这个团叫我写的干了，啊你，秋国的让星期六去叫我买的，大把人不吃，是吧？今天一节让星期六去姐妹大不吃。
So with the expanded.
早晚，早晚。
With the expanded explanation of the negation, then the Tathagata Dharmakaya does not take birth with the mental body that is the nature of the mind because it is a permanent phenomenon.
现在大把人被叫我们写的，一节让星期六叫我们大把人被吃写，大把叫我呢，一节让星期六叫我人了。
So that this Dharmakaya has no birth because it is a permanent phenomenon, and this birth here refers to birth with the mental body.
但南界一节让星期叫我才当查完一张，对，大别南界啊。
So, because it is separated from birth. From a birth with the mental body that is in the nature of the mind, so it is that is the meaning for calling it a permanent. That Dharmakaya is permanent.
今天他提起了三米条就是七百亿，今天每节电不吃，咋完了，是吧？三米每节三米条就七百亿，三米每节7万万吃，今天每节电不吃，是的，咋话题？
Sawati khandere.
再一个咋的？你一节上星期六你姐妹大不吃，他就叫我们把这吃，啊，叫我们的大把也没吃，是。
The pure basic element is without birth because it is permanent. And basic element is without death. 니가 담다 숨을 가수마.
근데 당보디 내려와 여기 삽제过来 여기 수를 때문에 남자의 텐다 용주의 텐다 남자의 텐 개와 샤바 세지도와 남자의 텐 개 샤바 수바들이 그러봐 단데 거래에서는 대신시비 추고디 이제랑 시기 개와 요마 류지 개와 요마 말이 거래에서는 다바이 미칠 대니 이제랑 시기 류지 개매 다비칠
So, the root text here is verse 80. The essential constituent is without birth initially by actions of mental nature because of not changing and being permanent. So, negation of the birth with the mental body and that affirming that it is permanent. And then the essential constituent does not die in the end with the inconceivable transmigration because of being non-deceptive and stable.
어디게 되와라 삼지 미자와를 주위 치포에 추구디 미제데 땜비칠 사상제가 사나 삼지 미제 치포면 아래 땜바 인장.
So in the state of Buddhahood, in the grounds of Buddhahood, there is no inconceivable death.
대체 삼미셔주 땜비칠.
And because of that, it is constant.
다 되게 삼지 추구면 아래 땜바체. 바자 참미 내 남지 내매 시와 니지 칠. 바자 참이 내 남지 내매 시와 치비치. 추구라 말이 배때 따와르다. 바자 참이 내 남지 내매 시와 니지.
And then the root 81, it is not harmed in the middle by the sickness of subtle obstructions, which are the latencies of ignorance.
바자 참이는 남지 내매 시완지 시세가 추구라 말을 바자 참이 내 남지 내가 매대 아니 가소래 시완이지 칠 라신당 라신지 들마다 루부지 들만이 그 시와 임비실.
So the Dhammakaya is not harmed by the illness of subtle predispositions of ignorance, and because it is at peace. It is at peace because of being free of the adventitious defilements, and at peace in being naturally pure.
따뜻한 시비 제자 무슨에 다마테기 삼지미자 위치와 대체 아니 오마테기 아니 가소래 말을 바자지 내가 매바테 때네 안에 대다시 시위텐도 샤바인발 대다를 차와대 땀바다 시위텐도
So these lines explain the meaning behind how the Dharmakaya is stable or constant, and in what it means to be at peace.
다더니 사명어바 도제지 용중치는 가와매 자와 사명기 내지 엄만 도체비 치나 아니다 가서는 가와매바이나 용중치는 가와매 다디 자와디체.
And then because of being just the quiescence of non-dualistic apprehension, so forth, because of not disintegrating and remaining unalterable even by uncontaminated activities, it is without aging. Thus, what need is there to speak of ordinary birth and so forth?
That's about maybe less at the Kazan. 예란자 좀 받아. 아니 다살람이 가사대다. 아니 삼신도 깨려는 그 quyết定 봐. 너 인자 사바메비 내지 엄반 두체지 두체바 매배. 아니 가와요 말이스. 가와메디.
So
내지 왕기 현도 민주에 용중이 비칠. 용중시와 땜비 되는 지당.
So it has no aging formed by compounded by compounding of non-afflicted karma, with earlier uncontaminated karma, because it is unalterable and not subject to transformation by karma. And so usually you need it is the uncontaminated karma, the non-afflicted karma, that is the cause for the birth, birth of a Shravaka or a Pratyeka Arhat or the Bodhisattvas of the three pure grounds. But the state of the Dhammakaya is not affected by such uncontaminated karma, and therefore unalterable.
담바다 답이 되는데 간데스레 sana 아니 치우고 아니 가서래 량유지왕 그 떼와매 봐 따바탕 따바탕 아니 가서 삼지 매잡에 치보아 매바인다 땜바탕 근데 샤바를 마도 어디 때아 가서 레전지 뮤죠 인제 딱대소지 된 대다르 셰지 전화받으면 나시 두바라와 그 땅을 샤바 매도 쓴 거래.
So permanence and constancy and so forth are explained this way and not as referring to permanent functional phenomenon existing as an independent affirmation. So, when we talk of permanent, constant, or stable, this is how it is. How the Dhammakaya is. This is how the Dhammakaya is permanent. This is how the Dhammakaya is constant, but not in relation to the true existence of phenomena. It doesn't refer to the true existence of phenomena like how it is stated in the Jonang tradition.
나한테는 운동실 나한테 걸어오고 나한테 니와대 대임만 로상도 그봐 제와티 자와는 제와시 제와디만 로상도 시원 나한테 거인 봐 제와 얘가 이번에 이 자와다 제와시 담보들 안 줄래 되면 나저 퇴사해 두가 어떻게 제와시 하지만 로상도
So now the commentary.
나한테는 다다와디 거래서 사명을 받듯이 운루치나 가와미 대라 친이 티신이 이단 이지 고름시 드마체비 인장이 따발라서 된시차 스타 대대스만도 대대만도 다나 대신도 좀 대니와대 제가 가서래
딩행게 쇼로 가더래
나
딩행게
쇼로 가지고 신도 춤만 매지 랑신지 넘버 타바 여사와 랑게 랑신 산제지 살라 넘버 타바 디신시베 카메라신 넘버 타바 루부지 춤만 넘버 타비 타바 니니 디 친제네 계속서 먼저 타냐와 손에 다들 가르쳐 타와더라 바자 처음에는 남지 내면이 시와지 사명원바 되지 용준치는 가와매 다 되라 승리 티신이 니단 니지 고름신 누마체위 인란이 따발라서 된시차 나 대오마데레도가 나딜티
디강
나와 요사마데
디강데래
디강라고
자와 디강데래
자원디 간다 자원디르도와 바자 처음에는 내면 진지 시와니체 사명원바 되지 용준치나 가와매 대칭 차와체
디 저와래 디 저와데래
그래도 요사마레 대 사명원바 되지 용준치나 가와매 사명원바 되지 길에 용준치나 가와매 용준이 비 다단시 루바랑 땅을 매놓체다 다들이 이와 처만 매지 랑시주에 싸와 세다
디 탄지기 자와디 저와래
말디 로가 용거로 하지 말이 왜 두바랑 왜 땅을 샤워해 이와 니 신도 처만 매지 랑시지 넘버 타바 여사와 랑게 랑시 상자기 살라 넘버 타바 티시시베 카메라시지 넘버 타바라 너부지 팀에 정말 그 타바더니 네 친제네 계속 소 원기타 녀와 손에 이지랑시 유류지 깨와 마인데 따부실
So Rinpoche just read the commentary. For the totally undefiled and natural purity of the clear light, whose own nature abides in purity at the level of the Buddha. The basic element of the Tathagata, purified of all adventitious defilement within its own natural purity, there is no taking of birth by way of a mental body at a perceived beginning, meaning to hold that it was born at a particular point because it is a permanent phenomenon.
但的确现在接受是我就谈你话送呢，你有几张兄弟叫我们把的大把没存在印章，推的咱们那搞个些。안에 삼지 미자고 용수 집이 치보고에 안에 싸도 치와 많이 돼 땜비칠.
So you know, the Dhammakaya is a permanent phenomenon because there's no thing as that this mental body from this point then got born or began. In the same way, then it will not suffer any death of inconceivable transformation at some perceived end, meaning to hold to a particular time when its continuum is halted because it is
Listen to my mind days. Listen to my mind, and
and it is not harmed in body or mind by the chains of the ground of the predispositions of ignorance between some perceived beginning and end, meaning a continuum of a similar previous and later moments, because it is at peace.
대단 연주기 초당 아니 시주기 초 연주기 초세 련유고 왕거 주의 아니 가서 깨달은 비추당 말을 바자 그 사당 삼을 길라라 때나 주의 시주기 초지 지지 된매배 아니 마벼봐 된매봐 마벼봐 인지 마보봐 아니 시주고 강연 받더니 용중이 지칠 아니 사람이 비 내지 더 용서 민배 가와야 많이
So the Dhammakaya is not altered by birth or death brought on by afflictions, obscuring afflictions, nor is birth and death brought on by obscuration to omniscience, and so therefore there's no aging brought on by the ripening of both afflicted and non-afflicted karmas. So questions? Okay.
For the pure arhat who then enters bodhisattva path, is it difficult then to take an intentional rebirth because of having purified attachment?
Pena nientugi tachambacharwa and Kuranta teaching lam to Shuparachina and Kasure Decha Pangba Yinza assumption to Kewa Lea Kaleka Chigrives.
Crazy.
In order to take intentional rebirth, you do not need attachment. It's the compassion. The heroes and the bodhisattvas, they have abandoned delusions, the affliction of attachment, and it is good is.
세반이 보데 아니 마방바 전에 집에 하나 유아지와래 스고레스 자주 서봐 강가라 아니 전에 집에 하나 대자 서봐 고기와 말해
So, as stated earlier,
삼신도 깨달는 밤 전에 집에 하나
for the bodhisattvas, abandoning of the ignorance and the 5 types of views are a must. But for some bodhisattva, but attachment and craving like that, it is possible for these to become factors in benefiting others. But it is not like that for all bodhisattvas.
대야 아니 깨달래야 말이 바자가 사다신 아니 사매를 할 때는 깨달래 그와래 깨달랑 찬이 아니 새 동안 좀 발랐어요. 텐도 아니 내자 텐도 좋아요. 두샤가 와. 그래서 자지 봐.
So the taking of the rebirth happens from the grounds of the imprints of ignorance and uncontaminated karma. And those are the factors that causes the birth, and it is in that context you have this lines that say being 1,000 prince of the conquerors and so forth with desire, taking desire. Okay.
Maybe I'm just not thinking things through, but I get this feeling of reification here, and it's reifying a mere negation. So maybe I need some clarification in that sense.
I didn't understand your question.
I get the feeling that Dharmakaya is being kind of reified here, right? Made into existence, but it's a mere negation. Maybe there's a better word than reify. Did you understand there? It's almost as if I'm making it into something real. But it's a mere negation. And yet I'm almost edgifying, making it into an entity.
야.
Tachi ta suya de ta tanda chuku de tanda takpa ta shiwa ta inda chimong shilabya ra tempa ta inda chilabra ta dinde mongbu suyu de ka chik crown woncho ne chik but chuku se chik doctor dubas ne shich nangdos chukus chik doctor druva na shiche inte namchu chukus lak tu kan pa kakchas ro che sigo ra namchu chuku ge deshe
주 가자 말을 거야.
mar mega na shiche ra
초구에서 간거 된다 디디 초구세야 돼 뒤마치지 초구 뭐니고 가자 메갈 쪽으로 말이 초구라 이시 초구당 니여와 이러와 초구는 이시 초구당 뭐니고 니여래 뭐니고스나 다 가자 재산지 메가 돈이 들어죠 이시 초구잖아 산적 이시라 샤고래 초구 거사 니여래
this
네가 다베지 때문에 새 초구대 산적이 다든다 고단들아 고고 말해.
So, when we talk about, when we talk about the Dhammakaya as being permanent, peace, stable, like this, these are the characteristics of the state of cessation. Dhammakaya in general, then you have two, the Gnosis Dhammakaya, the exalted wisdom truth body, and the Swabhavakaya, Ngoniku, Swabhava. And Ngoniku de
Mega de Toniro.
And so and the Swabhavakaya is emptiness. We're talking about emptiness, and so that becomes mega. What do you say? Non-affirming negation. Non-affirming negation. But it didn't answer your question.
Yeah.
It answered?
Sort of the general feeling that it gets to be an entity, as if, I guess because you talk about it, it's a state, right? But it almost makes you feel like there's something there.
Maybe that's the comment to not take it as a Jonan translation.
But, at the end of the commentary, it says that, it explains how it is permanent and how it is constant, in what respect and in what respect it isn't. It talks at the end. Not like, it's not talking permanent or constant with regards to things existing truly, like in the Jonang tradition. But, when you say the Dharmakaya is permanent, then there's an explanation as to how it is permanent, in what way that permanent should be understood.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So just staying on that, the permanent, so is there a dependent nature to this permanency?
Tanda takpa desha chuku takpa imbe desha chumbra dilia tembe chu yoresa
Chugula.
chuku dila.
Chugu temba koran tembarwa. Tembas.
It has dependency.
Temba da shiwani chiris. Tini temba.
Mari di temba mare. Di temba di mare.
Mana temba kanre.
Tanda tendel ki temba te sore. Chugula tendel Kiwa tene dubasa tendel.
Chugu tendere. Tene chubare. Chugu senga boy.
Dharmakaya is dependent rising.
What is it dependent
And chugu kharila tene dubares.
Chugu senga de kasanje ki chugu sena. Ane sanje ki tindu sanje ki sem rangshi ji chua katam ji. Ane the
Dharmakaya is the mere negation of the Buddha's mind existing by way of its own nature. That is the Dharmakaya.
Sanje ki chugu koran, sanje ki chugu sena, pena sanje ki sem la si kana, sem koran, ane kasore, chasha nazo chobala tenen, dewa zam mazo, chuba zam mazo, sem koran rawa do ma chuba yinzang, ane kasore, sem ki tingi chugu sigware.
So the Buddha's mind is a collection of many parts, and it exists in dependence upon many parts, this Buddhist mind. So this Buddhist mind, being empty of existing from its own side, independently, is the Dharmakaya. Because there is the mind, you have the Dharmakaya of that mind. If you didn't have the mind, then you would not have the Dharmakaya based on that mind. You can format your questions around if you don't understand. Just come from different angles. Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
The text mentioned like all these hundreds of millions of emanated form bodies. Okay, so we as ordinary sentient beings, myself as an ordinary sentient being, can receive teachings. Other than receiving teachings, what other ways
do these
form bodies benefit ordinary sentient beings?
The Tanjingela is sukta chwa mambu tuche chikcha cho shingna zolo tuche mambu tuche mambu sumra. And chusumba bashimento di mayimba kandets Shussuneta Penta di Imbrava, Simchick Dunza, the Mayimba Shimetone Cadis Pentores, Tubatinsu.
Course the Rangarangin, Sambata to be true and not so Tindicana. And Kui Samba Karena, Kui Debayo by the Trua in the Kui tend to go.
All of these
Chapata, Nyawata, Rajan Yaju, Janam Givagi, Paro Pantoya.
So, because
then Trua Nazo Dembitaji, Kui and a Korangi, Sambata Tumba, and a Chawa Cheve, Kora Pantoya.
So, because these emanations are emanated solely to fulfill the welfare of sentient beings, then these form bodies fulfill the wishes of those sentient beings, whatever it is that sentient beings want, wish for, and fulfilling their wishes. And if it is if it requires activities of coming and going and sitting, whatever activities are required to fulfill the welfare of the particular sentient being, then it undertakes those activities. So fulfilling the wishes of the sentient beings. Of course, you have to understand it in accordance with Dharma. Wishes or needs of the sentient beings. Both. It has to be both.
So then, as an ordinary sentient being, am I encountering these forms?
Tamebe kebuchirwa. Ndegeta ne ngasrochige and sangegeta tubeku inde jigo orves, tegi orves.
Tegris, Sanjay Tugutar, Koranga Sanjay Tugu, but she Maris.
You are meeting them, but you wouldn't know them.
Sanjay Tugu turned and I Jaguaris and Aranzo Jangandi, Aranzo Sanjay Jaja turned out Hakugamari.
There are these emanated forms of the Buddhas that are constantly benefiting sentient beings, but we as sentient beings who encounter them, do not see them as Buddhas.
Kasore Sanjay Gigi, to Kadu in Yang, around the Tambo Tanjisho the same Gideon, around the Tadatsu Semji. Taran loved the young, I don't want to tell Lama love. Tangombazawa Sanjanigan, Mandi Tendala, Mombazawa Sanjavari, Dainza, Tandaina, Mandi Tenda Chechi Yamari, Narado Kaya, Chodi Zamba, and it Tata Sanjaki Tenja to go at it. Since a Sanjaki Tilet in Jukua to go at it, Tilet.
So, the Buddha's benefiting sentient beings is for all times. Because when they generated bodhicitta, the whole point of generating bodhicitta was for our benefit, and the entire path of accumulating all that merit was for our benefit. Even the end result of enlightenment was for our benefit, and so you would have to say that Buddhists for all times fulfill the welfare of sentient beings, but we have to turn focus or turn towards these activities and make ourselves kind of suitable or receptive towards it. Make ourselves, enable ourselves to become recipient of those activities.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead. Chukusya the Simchen da Sangegi Sim Gichulol never in the Yoris.
Chukusanda Layimba, Rava, Chukusiga the Karre Sana, Maranzo, that same Gitumaj Ma, Jandi Zamba, Semda Semgi Chini Jorwa, Semda Semgi Chini, the Tumajba, the Jandi Sanja Tupi Zamba, Semgi Chini de Onigutur. Same day, Ishichukun or Dwar. That Tinika Chukure.
So
아버지요 말해.
there is no such phenomenon of a Dhammakaya outside of the sentient being's mind. But Dhammakaya, as explained before, is when our defilements, when our mind with all its defilements, when these defilements are completely purified, then the suchness of the mind that becomes sim기 춘이디 ngoni고.
sim기 춘이디 그마야 다도 잡아 아는 ngoni고 ngojur.
So when the defilements of the mind are completely purified, then the suchness on the basis of this mind is transformed into the Swabhavakaya, and the mind is transformed into the transcendental wisdom, truth body. So these two are both Dhammakaya. Okay.
Does the mental body that we've been discussing have subtle form or gross form or no form?
Tanda anzu dinar mangbuchi yigilu mangbuchi shevra yigilu yilu tu tawajire rakbajire lu yobare mevajire khares yilu dil
kare yobare tawasena 리 춥주 코랑 규단 자와지나 알아서 또 믿도 와시체 그도 춥주된 알아서 또 믿도 와시체 유지라시 리 코랑
토야 열스
랑닝 알아서 된치고 인장 또 토야체
So we can see these mental bodies which are in the nature of the mind, because these mental bodies, they undertake activities benefiting sentient beings, so we are able to realize it. But the causes that generate such a mental body, such as the uncontaminated karma or the grounds of the imprints of ignorance, those we don't realize. Tanda 이게 런싱이 루스야디 고도 순두가 가수래 콜루기베게보다 개친다 인데스래
말이야
아니
콜루기 저저 말이지 란신리스나 장주 셈바 코르 제와를 셈비 류데 아니 이지라시 류데 말이 바닥 사다 사mek 내라 때는 좀이 아니 류데래 아니 이지라시 류스 거래
Like the bodhisattvas, when they take birth in samsara, their bodies are known as mental bodies in the nature, in the bodies that are in the nature of the mind. So therefore, you would have to say you can see those bodies.
For instance, we're not able to see a Sambhavakaya until you attain a certain level.
Pena lonju zube kuchi tungo res. Lonju zube kuchi tungo omares. Gonda. Lonju zube kuti tungo omares.
통고 말해서
Lonju zube kuti hansu tungo omarvas. And this ores. The ignorant should lose the tungores.
내가 가가랬어. lonjezo 곳에디 코랑 가서리 내기 차네 뒤지차 코랑 먼저 통고 말만도 산행이 자주 잡았지 통고 말해. 소소 교고 통고 말해. 알아서 통고 말해.
Sambhavakaya bodies, we as ordinary sentient beings cannot see, but bodhisattvas can see those bodies.
We can see the mental body of an Arya Bodhisattva.
이지랑시에서는 먼저 통기. 좀 그 상제기 류라 소소교 레다 양제기 제요 말해. 레타바키.
I think because I use the term mental body, it is a body in the nature of the mind. But those bodies we can see. We can see because they, bodhisattvas who take birth in samsara are said to have bodies that are in the nature of the mind. Because their bodies, you cannot attribute it to, common, ordinary aggregates.
Okay, we can't see them.
Just to finish what you just said, is that, even ordinary sentient beings with much purified karma can even see the Buddha. Ta khonso yigi ranshingi lu sidara kranzo kwala chig lu tamo. It's not a subtle body when we talk about a body in the nature of the mind. It's not a It's just when we talk about a mental body as it comes up in these texts, in the nature of the mind. These the only reason for saying that is because the causes for generating such a body is the grounds of the imprints of ignorance and uncontaminated karma, non-afflicted karma. Because these are the causes of the body, so we call it mental bodies. But we can see it, and it has all the same manner of ordinary, bodies that are born like out of ignorance, accumulate karma, and then you have the rebirth and the birth that goes to sickness, age. It has all the same features, but the unique characteristic of that bodhisattva's mental body is this cause is different. So we'll stop here for today.
Song